welcome to Weekends with Whitney. Coming up on this morning's show, meet an incredible artist who's lived in Venezuela, Mexico, Belgium, Barcelona, and now Baton Rouge. How he's traveled the world to help save the world with every brushstroke, and why there's nowhere in the world he'd rather be than right here. Plus, 35 years after the Dukes of Hazzard hit the TV screen, the Duke boys are in hot water again, this time over the General Lee's Confederate flag. I'll talk to John Schneider, who played Bo, and get his take on the controversy that caused TV Land to take the hit show off the air. I'll also catch up with Daisy Duke herself and find out why Catherine Bach says the show still has legs. And want to be more successful and influential? Dr. Nick explores the art of persuasion and how to avoid it turning into manipulation. And a heart-healthy dish from our friends at the Little Village. Chef Harrison shows us how to whip up the best grouper and shrimp you've ever had. But first, we can often take our freedom and form of government for granted. But one of Baton Rouge's newest residents had much of his home and business seized under a socialist government in South America. It did not, though, however, impede his passion for painting. Instead, it just spread his work around the world faster. And now his world calls Baton Rouge home. Ramon Reyes is a gifted artist, painter, and sculptor. He lived nearly the first 30 years of his life in Bolivar, Venezuela, where he became a successful artist. Then the socialist government, led by Hugo Chavez, seized most of his home and business, saying he had too much wealth.
Only one house, only one car. Really a dictator. I think my country is right now in disaster.
Not wanting everything he worked so hard for to be seized again, he left Venezuela to live and work in Belgium, Barcelona, and Mexico. The art worlds there and across Europe embraced him.
People love Frida Kahlo, not only in Mexico, in Paris, for example, in Pompidou Museum.
Then just last month, Reyes moved to Baton Rouge. When the foyer art manager, Lisa Toth, saw his work, she knew a real talent had moved in.
Very diverse, he can do anything. He's got a passion for his work, and it shows. We're here at the right place and found him at the right time.
A time when his art is still affordable. He came to the U.S. just 3 months ago. He's learning English for the first time at LSU. He's picking it up quickly, too, although he admits it'd be easier to just pick up a paintbrush. Art itself speaks a universal language. Nevertheless, he's determined to become proficient in English. Lisa says his art already speaks volumes. What was your initial reaction?
Loved it.
Why?
Color. He brought back color.
It's the best happy color is the yellow. It's the sun, for example. It's light, it's happy, it's red, of course, is passion, is, I don't know. And blue is the complement color.
Together, he creates harmony and balance, despite the fact he saw little of that in Venezuela. As a result, he started his own children's foundation there to encourage kids to find and explore the artist inside themselves.
It is my life, it's my passion. I need to create the foundation for projection of my work and projection and other children in Venezuela and Latin America in general. The education for art is not very good.
To show children what you can build with your imagination, he created, then donated, this life-size elephant to their playground. He started painting before he could write, and remembers the value of encouragement.
My teacher said, "Oh, very good, beautiful." I painted. I don't stop the painting. Every day, oh, painting me, painting me, painting me. I painting every single teacher, every single children.
So now he teaches, most recently as Professor of Fine Arts at the University of Guadalajara. Yet he's always a student of his own work, experimenting with different textures, dimensions, materials. Sand, always evolving as an artist.
Change, other techniques, is experiments.
Yeah.
The people, oh, wow, that's very good. I think, oh, I'm not very good. I need more work.
Reyes puts his paintbrushes to work on nearly everything. He does stunning body art. Murals. Even his own clothes. He paints his mood, so if he's peaceful, it might be a sunset. Strong and adventurous, horses, his favorite to paint. If he's feeling free, fish. But he's most satisfied when he's working a piece with more depth and complexity, like this one, that makes you think.
For me, it's important for my evolution, you know?
As an artist.
An artist.
Yeah, right. He has an interesting tool many artists don't, a photographic memory. He can close his eyes and picture anything, then just start drawing. No pictures or sketches needed.
I close my eyes, my imaging is perfect in my mind.
He made up his mind to move to Baton Rouge after visiting a friend here. He fell in love with everything about it. He fits right in too. Check this out. He constructed, then painted these incredible floats for Carnival in South America, their version of Mardi Gras. There's no masking his feelings about Louisiana.
I think it's my dream.
But there's one more dream on his horizon. Reyes says he'll start a children's foundation here in the U.S. soon too. And still to come, we catch up with the good old boys and gals from the Dukes of Hazzard, how they're weathering the latest controversy that pulled the show off the air, and what else is driving their lives these days. Plus, unraveling the secret to persuasion with Dr. Nick, and a great summertime sizzle with Chef Harrison and the Little Village after this.
Maggio, the only way to go. Maggio Buick GMC, your satisfaction's our specialty. We really deliver on Falls River, here in New Roads. Small town atmosphere, legendary service for over 60 years. Maggio, the only way to go. The only way to go, that's Maggio.
This segment brought to you by our friends at Wayne Stabler Companies. Welcome back to Weekends with Whitney. 35 years ago, the Dukes of Hazzard hit the airwaves on CBS. And until just earlier this month, it was still in syndication. Well, I recently caught up with some of the Dukes and asked about how they're weathering this latest controversy. And I also caught up with fans who drove hundreds of miles and one who even flew in from Europe to meet their favorite stars.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
The Dukes of Hazzard had millions of fans shouting with excitement in the 80s. Those same fans are still turning out to see them. many driving hundreds of miles to Livingston Parish for the Cajun Country Jam. Sean Gaffey drove down from Iowa. He's a first-generation fan. He started watching 35 years ago when he was only 3. Well, who's your favorite Dukes of Hazzard character?
All of them.
These are the diehards, waiting for hours in 95-degree heat. Proof that Sean is a real fan, look at this. He's obviously met Daisy Duke before, so he brings this and travels with it, even has presents for her. And for all of the other cast members and friends from the Dukes of Hazzard, he has things from years ago, things from his childhood and beyond. The Dukes of Hazzard game, there's puzzles, there's license plates, there's t-shirts, and he even has General Lee's visor. That's a fan. These folks came from Ohio. Who has been the biggest thrill?
Coy.
Coy for you.
Daisy.
Marianne.
Yeah.
She's
Now we're
something.
going to the other building and see the rest of them.
But this couple wins the travel award, flying in from Torino, Italy. Who knew? The Dukes of Hazzard is a huge hit there too.
Very happy. It's a dream. It's a dream because when I was a children that I see this show, and now I'm here, it's wonderful.
Folks are standing in lines more than a football field deep out there to get great mementos from their childhood, like the General Lee signed, or look at this, customize their favorite stars, and many of them here. So they'll have to stand in line for a while, but they say it's all worth it. Like Debbie Hopkins and her husband from Brandon, Mississippi.
We're going to try to get all the autographs that we can today.
John Schneider, who played Bo Duke, says their fans now span 4 generations.
Dukes was a show that people watched with their families, you know, so a lot of times people say that their fondest memories of their grandparents who have passed on were Friday nights watching the show. And somehow, I mean, you see all the kids in this line.
The most anticipated star, Catherine Bach, who played the desirable Daisy Duke, and even coined the phrase of her famous shorts, says the show's following is incredible.
I really love my fans. I just really do. I love the fans of the show. I love the South. I love it here.
It's mutual. Check out Ronald's phone.
One and only Daisy Duke.
That's tame compared to his General Lee tattoo. It's the General Lee's Confederate flag painted on top that caused the show to bite the dust and get knocked off of the air by TV Land. John says the flag doesn't make its stars racist or its fans.
It's silly. I think it's silly. I mean, I understand people having to, you know, companies have different sets of responsibility. When you have shareholders, you have to look at the world a different way. But it's really, it's silly. It's short-sighted.
Catherine says the flag was never intended to make a statement or offend anyone.
Dukes of Hazzard is family entertainment, and it's a show that everybody can watch as a family all together, and that's what makes it so fun.
Actually, people want to watch it more now than ever. I mean, it kind of worked opposite of what they were trying to do. But you know, that's how you get people to do anything. Tell them they can't.
Despite the controversy, nothing was going to put a bad spin on this celebration. I can't get over all the people. What do you think of it?
Oh, it's great. It's a good turnout.
Even the stars were starstruck.
There's such beautiful women. I watched Barbara Eden when I was a little girl, so I just can't get over that she's here. I want to get over and meet her and get her.
She's beautiful.
No,
Mom, she's gorgeous.
She is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's hard to believe how beautiful she is.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you dream of being Jeannie like I did growing up?
Are you kidding? Of course. I wanted to disappear and wiggle my nose and wear those outfits, and I wore them a few times for Halloween.
I wanted a genie my whole childhood. Every time I rubbed the bottle, nothing would come out.
One fan, Ronnie Hooks, had that famous bottle with her.
She signed it. I tried not to geek out. This was bucket list item, was to meet Barbara Eden. I just couldn't believe it. I had to share a funny story with her. My mom remembered that one of my first complete sentences was, because I was so in love with the I Dream of Jeannie show. The show was on, everybody was yakking. I turned around and said, "Shh, I'm a Dream of Jeannie on." And And I told her, and I just couldn't believe, like I said, geeked out.
It was a magical,
Oh, and I have a wonderful idea for Mr. Howell's rescue.
unforgettable day.
I don't realize how old I am when you see the generations that you touch.
Right down, I have to think about it.
Gilligan's Isle, oh, Gilligan's Isle, right?
Tale of a tiny ship.
Let's sit right back and you hear a tale of a fateful trip.
That started from this tropic port.
Aboard the tiny ship.
The mate was a mighty sailor man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day.
A 3-hour tour.
3-hour tour.
If not for the current of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost.
The minnow would be lost.
Skipper to
The
millionaire and his wife, a movie star.
The Professor and Mary Ann.
Here on Gilligan's Isle.
Oh, I love it here. People in Louisiana really know how to keep a sense of humor and have fun.
All of this happened in part because of this guy. Radio personality and the voice of Scooby-Doo, Scott Innes. He, along with the help of some of his famous friends, orchestrated the Livingston Parish Cajun Country Jam. He tells me it'll be even bigger next year. So mark your calendar for July 4th. He promises it'll be spectacular with more stars, more music, and more fun. If you'd like to watch the Dukes of Hazzard these days, you'll have to buy the DVD. And despite the controversy, you can still find it for sale in stores and online. And still ahead as Weekends with Whitney continues, unraveling the secret to persuasion with Dr. Nick. And a sizzling summertime dish, grouper and shrimp, with our friends at the Little Village. After this.
Hi, I'm Robert Meyer, inviting you to spend some of your summer in beautiful New Roads. Hit the water of False River for fishing, swimming, boating, and more. Feast on the finest food anywhere at our award-winning restaurants. Get in some retail therapy strolling our unique stores and take in some of our wonderful culture. Spend a day or spend a week. Whatever you do, spend some time in New Roads.
Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees.
Give the gift of fine dining. Wayne Stabler Companies is offering 1 card for 4. Le Creole, The Little Village, Stab's Steak and Seafood. 4 sizzling restaurants, 1 card.
Welcome back to Weekends with Whitney. Persuasion. It's something that we all have to do weekly in our lives, some weeks more than others. Dr. Nick is here this morning to share the principles of persuasion, how to do it effectively and how to do it ethically. Great to see you.
Great ethical beginning. The book, just got to show the audience, written in 1984. I studied it in graduate school. Probably really one of the most life-changing books I've ever read.
No kidding.
Because I'm fascinated with marketing and sales.
Yes.
And this is principles of persuasion in terms of how to get a yes out of people, is basically what it is. But I thought it would be an interesting topic, Whitney, because it's also teaching people, if they want to read it or just pick up from what we talk about today, how to also say no. I get what you're doing. And I'm not going to fall into it, even though I'm tempted to. And people will see once we talk about the principles.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first principle of persuasion.
Okay, well, that would be reciprocity.
Okay.
Back in the 70s, for those of you who are my age, the Hare Krishna were at the airport giving people flowers. It wasn't really just about flowers. It's because they knew that 90% of the people would feel obligated.
Right.
When you give a church person gives a Bible away to someone, they feel obligated to check out that church. Don't you feel it?
Of course.
It's reciprocity. Again, to keep it ethical, we want to make sure that we're just not tying people into a relationship merely for that. Right?
Right.
And then it helps people to say, no, thank you, I don't want the flower. or the windshield, wiper. The windshield wiper comes.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened to you?
You know, in Boston it used to.
Okay, I was going to say in major cities.
Yes.
It's never happened to me here.
And you would say, I didn't need my windshield cleaner, but you do. You know, you're usually giving them something.
Of course, you just feel obligated. But I want to say something about what I think is humorous about the principles that he talks about, and that is before you ask for the yes.
Okay.
There was a lady that was in her 80s, I think, working at a jewelry store, and she was always nervous about young people getting married and not lasting. So when they would come in to buy the ring, she would say, I'm happy for you, but I just want you to see what I looked like when I was 19 before I was married. She would pull out this picture of how beautiful she was. And several of the couples would say, we should be thinking about what are you
Can I love this? Can I love this in 60 years?
Or Reed writes you a letter and says, Mom, sit down. And goes through all these horrible things about I broke my leg and the car has crashed, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end says, I was just kidding, I made a D in one subject. Really.
And then it doesn't seem so bad.
All of a sudden, it doesn't seem, you've put it in a context. And I don't like the notion of letter, but I do like the notion of putting all of our problems in a context. And I hate that notion that it could be worse, but that's basically what you're doing. And you're getting people to say, yes, it's not that bad.
Right. Now, authority is important.
Authority is important. People we like, people we look up to. I read something the other day that men in suits have more authority, just wearing a suit.
I believe
people
that.
we like. I think the liking is also the network liking. I could call people, someone I don't know, and say, Whitney Van told me to call you. They like you. I think that's a part of this too. Therefore, I get in the door.
Right.
Because they trust you and like you. So authority is important. One of my favorites is commitment. Some nonprofits ask you for $500. Right. And you say, oh, I don't have that. And they say, okay, well, can you give $100? What are the chances you're going to say yes?
You have taught me that it's hard to say no twice. So the chances are I'm going to.
It's hard to say no twice.
Like that telemarketer who's calling right now. I just hang up the phone all the time.
I hear this ring in the background, and I'm thinking, what, are we supposed to say yes to that?
And no one I know ever calls it, right? Because they're always calling the cell phone.
Nobody, it's got to be a telemarketer.
I can't believe there's still the persuasion. I'm over that.
Good for you.
I'm not persuaded by them anymore.
Good for you, and we're not cutting this segment because of it either.
I'm committed not to answering that telephone. Commitment's a big part of persuasion, right?
Next time we're going to talk about how to deal with distractions. Commitment is fascinating because it's how to get someone to say yes slowly. Someone asks you for $500 and you say no.
Right.
Wait, they ask you for $100. It's harder to say no twice.
And it's almost impossible for someone to say no three times.
And then 3 times. It's like, well, can you? But the point is that you want to get people in. I always think if nonprofits were smart, they would take what they could get from you. But next year, what do? You raise it.
Right.
Can you get $5 more? I'm in it. I'm committed.
Sure.
I'm involved in it.
When you can show what their money went to and how it produced great results, then you've really got something. Then you've got a wheel that you can continue to just roll every year.
And it becomes very consistent. It becomes very consistent. The last one is scarcity, which is really, I think, the most fascinating to me at all. And I try to say this to people, if they've got a meeting, okay, and they're expecting 200 people, so they set up 200 chairs, and 20 people come. What does it look like?
Well, everyone else
failure.
Failure. And they feel like, why am I here?
Nobody came. So you're thinking, okay, I know that I've got 20. I'm going to set up 15 chairs and pull out 5. And now what are people going to psychologically think?
Wow, this is a place to be. I'm glad I'm here.
I'm glad I'm here. Very few people could get in. It's just obviously where it's at. Well, it's packed.
Yes.
The scarcity principle. I've only got 10 seats to fill.
Or
Do you
Whitney,
hear it?
I'm having dinner, but only 5 more seats are available, or 5
Only
total.
5.
You're one of 5. Can you make it?
You feel very selective, and I don't want to call it exclusive because I'm not into exclusivity, but you make it feel like, oh my God, I better get that now. I better get that now, or I better take a shot at that. There are only so much. How many people, how many times on television they'll say, only 60 seconds left?
That's right.
No, only 3 minutes left. See, you're creating scarcity. Now, your issue
is I'm concerned that what is the difference between, or where's the fine line between persuasion and manipulation?
It is very fine.
Because that frightens me. Manipulation, I don't think is a healthy thing.
It is very fine. I don't want to think of myself as giving books away so that people feel obligated to me.
Right.
But I do think that it does create a relationship. So you got to discern how to use these principles. If I'm going to give a seminar, I really want it to look like it's full, even though there are 20 people. I don't think that's unethical.
I don't either.
I don't think that we manipulate, and to some degree, Whitney, even manipulation is not so horrible in the sense that we manipulate our lives I manipulate therapy by not having a big desk in the room.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so to some degree, I'm manipulating, I'm setting it up, but it's a valid question, and I struggle with it. With you, I struggle with these.
And maybe one of the principles or ways to look at this is that it could be a win-win for both.
It can be.
Because if people come to your seminar, I know that you're good and that you offer really great advice. I know if somebody opens up your book, they're going to get an incredible experience and knowledge. So it's a win-win.
And that's an interesting, now you're back to authority. People who we respect, not necessarily that I am, but I'm saying now you're back to authority. Look at the celebrities that we want to endorse a product.
Right.
So again, is it manipulation or is it, wow, I really like him, I trust him. So the issue becomes to me, is that celebrity going to really sincerely, genuinely use the product?
Right, right. Are they really driving that car?
Right, really.
I mean, is Matthew McConaughey really driving around?
Yeah. Right now, as we speak, there's a new celebrity in town, Caitlyn Jenner.
You're right.
Okay? Some people are saying that it's all manipulation. It's just simply her way of staying in front of the camera and milking the media for everything she can. This is what some people think.
Sure.
Other people think incredible bravery.
Right.
It's really standing out there, doing her thing, and influencing the world and persuading the world by committing to authenticity.
Right, right. That is fascinating.
It's a fascinating story.
You know what I did? I stayed out of the fray of the Facebook and everything because it just got so dogmatic between people, and people were unfriending people, and I'm thinking, you know what? I don't have to let my views on every social aspect of our world be out there for other people to judge. And so I didn't get into that, but ooh, some people did.
And you know what you're basically saying, and then we'll go because I know we need to cut. You're basically saying that I'm following the principle of scarcity. I've got just so much time in my life.
True.
And I'm not going to spend it on that. Do you see how you use scarcity in an ethical way?
Yeah.
Someone said to me the other, I just don't have the time. And I said, good for you.
Yes, yes.
Scarcity is a great way to live. There's just so much time, and I know we gotta go.
I know, because
you've only got a 30-minute show.
We're scarce on time again, but much more Weekends with Whitney coming up right after this. Anytime is a good time at Little Village Airline, but lunchtime, they will do something special for you often. And today's special is grouper with shrimp, and Chef Harrison Decker is going to show us how it's done. Good to see you.
Good to see you again too.
Look, it looks good and it's not even cooked yet.
Oh yeah, grouper is my favorite fish, especially as fresh as this is. This is Gulf red grouper. Definitely my favorite. We're going to season that with a little bit of our grill seasoning. It's just Italian herb mix, salt, pepper, a little paprika and garlic, and the shrimp as well.
Great.
Throw this on the grill with a little bit of cooking oil.
Ah, not a saute pan.
No. We actually finish it in the oven with the saute pan. It's a little thick to cook all the way on the grill.
Right.
Throw the shrimp right on there too. While that's going on the grill, we're going to start the veggie. We do a different vegetable every day. Today we did squash and zucchini. So some fresh cut red onions, a little homegrown local peppers, and minced garlic. Let that saute down a little bit, and then add the squash and zucchini. Add a little salt and pepper. Go ahead and flip our fish. Like I said, it's a little too thick to cook all the way, so we're just going to sear it on both sides and then finish it off in the oven. Okay, so now that's going, we're going to set the fish in here with a little bit of white wine and throw that into the oven and let it finish. We can pull off the shrimp. Once your vegetables, if they start to stick, you can go ahead and deglaze with a little white wine.
Oh, I just thought your vegetables always tasted better because you probably put more butter on them than I do, but now I know that the trick is the white wine.
Yeah, and then a pinch of sugar also. Always helps. Now we just wait for our fish to finish.
Excellent.
Plate it up. Smoke.
All right, Harrison.
Now that we have all our ingredients cooked, we're going to start off with the vegetable on the bottom, sauteed squash and zucchini. Nice little mound right there. Our beautiful grilled red grouper.
Wow, that is a really beautiful piece of fish.
Grilled shrimp on top of that. We have some sliced toasted almonds. And finish it off with our lemon butter sauce, which is just reduced heavy cream, lemon juice, and incorporated butter. Yeah. And a little bit of green onions to garnish.
That is beautiful. They have a great lunch special with the special fish every day here at the Little Village Airline. Thanks so much for spending part of your Sunday with me here on Weekends with Whitney. Be sure to tune in next week when I'm going to tell you about an upcoming trip to Canada that I'm taking you along for. That and a whole lot more coming up next week. But until then, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or head to my website, weekendswithwhitney.net, for more on this and 40 other shows. Well, it is so hot outside these days. I thought it might be nice just to chill out for a little bit. So as we leave you this morning, a little snow. Well, like Christmas in July of sorts. Anyway, I hope it makes us all feel a little bit cooler, at least for a few minutes. Have a great and cool week ahead.